friends! Happy Martini Monday. I don't know if anyone else has supersonic hearing, but all I hear right now is my Mac block charging, and it is like the tiniest little ear-piercing noise. But anyway, happy Martini Monday, and welcome to Movies I Watched This Week! Get into the movies I watched this week, in honor of David Lynch icon passing away. We have a Coke with us today, in honor of him. So drink a Coke in honor of David Lynch, watch his movies. I mean, watch Twin Peaks. He's just truly incredible. So it's always sad when someone that you look up to passes, because then it just, in the back of my delusional mind, I'm like, that's another person that I'll never get to work with. So every week when I sit down to film these videos, I usually have my notebook where I compile all of my notes on pretty much anything ever in life. However, what I did this week a little bit differently, because each week with these videos, I want to improve not only my ability to watch and comprehend movies and analyze them and critique them, but I also just would like to work on my public speaking, because clearly it's a little in danger. Anyway, movies we watched this week, there's a grand total of 4. I thought there was more, truthfully. Starting off strong, we are going in straight away with Killing Me Softly, 2002, directed by Chen Cage. The movie has been in my watch list for years, simply because the poster and the image on Max of the main characters intertwined, sensually, really intrigued me. So of course, after Baby Girl, after The Piano Teacher, after my mind going crazy reading and finishing Carmilla and The Secret History, I needed something dark and I needed something sexual. So I put on Killing Me Softly. Watching this movie, it posed the question, is an affair worse than murder? Would you rather find out that your partner is having a passionate relationship with another, or that they've taken the life of someone in a passionate, planned fashion? This is a movie about Heather Graham, blonde American beauty. She's a roller girl from Boogie Nights. If you've ever seen Boogie Nights, recognized her immediately. She lives in London with her British boyfriend, and one day on her day to work, she is stopped by this handsome, gorgeous tall drink of water, because they both touch the walk button on the crosswalk, and it's like literally the cutest, most dramatized meet cute you could imagine in cinematic history, probably. And then they just stare at each other for a really long time, and then they say goodbye and like pass each other. I don't know, it's a very non-verbal exchange of something sexual that seems like, I don't know, if my boyfriend was out doing that, I would be like, wow! I also don't have one. Just saying. So let's get straight into my notes, because I thought of this film as an enticing erotic thriller encompassed by an eclectic and whimsical backdrop of London. So I've talked about it before, I'll talk about it again. Once in my life, I lived in Canterbury, which is about 50 minutes outside of London, and I would go to London all the time. And it is my favorite city in the world. It's one of my favorite places in the world. It's so wonderful. And there's something so whimsical and fun about the dreariness that covers the sky. I don't know. I just love London. It's a magical place to me. Always has been, always will be. So my favorite kind of movies are ones that take place there. That's why Notting Hill is so important to me, because I've been there and I can like feel where Hugh Grant was, even though like they may have partially filmed that in a studio, whatever. So it was a really enticing erotic thriller. And the basic premise of this film is that the main girl, Alice, and this guy have a love affair, because she's still living with her fiance, boyfriend, unclear on that one. And then she breaks up with her long-term boyfriend because she has such a crush on this guy, which, what the hell was his name? Because please listen to what I wrote. The main guy with an intense smolder looks like Jason, the guy from The Hills and Laguna Beach that dated Lauren Conrad and was the reason she didn't go to Paris. The second he came on the screen, mind you, the log line says that the main love interest might be a murderer, so it's not a spoiler, okay? rock climber, and he's well known in London for being a hero because he saved many people's lives in an accident. As the film goes on, he has lots of secrets, literally has skeletons in his closet. Not physical ones, but like love letters to past women. And Alice is going crazy because she thinks that he might be a serial killer. And while all this is happening and she's Nancy Drewing her way through life trying to figure out whether or not her husband, because they shotgun married, even though she wasn't pregnant, they just got married like super fast. She's like, my husband might be a killer. So it's super fast paced and really exciting, and it's a really great erotic thriller mystery. And then you get to the end and it's just completely taken away by the weird incestuous relationship between the main guy and his sister. That the sister is actually the murderer and the people that she killed were those past lovers of the main guy. Imagine if I knew his name. Wouldn't that really help your memory in what I'm saying right now? Let's look it up. Killing Me Softly movie. Adam. Deborah are siblings. Alice, Adam, married. Sister Deborah is killing all of his past lovers because they like weren't good enough for him or were gonna leave him, and she loves her brothers so much that she just had to protect them. So Alice goes on this whole journey trying to uncover these murders or these women who have gone missing, thinking that her husband's killing them and that she's next. Especially because he's really kinky in the bedroom. Like, they do a great job of making you think that he's a murderer. People talk a lot about a girl best friend, but you gotta start paying attention to the girl sisters, guys, okay? Those are my thoughts. I rated the movie, I think I rated it a 4 because it did what it needed to do. It was a sensual mystery, it was erotic, it was thrilling, it was enticing. I thought it was really fun. I thought the ending. Next, I watched one that was the complete opposite, Sophie's Choice, 1984, directed by Alan J. Pakula. And I put this movie on because I've heard the phrase Sophie's Choice 1,000,001 times, and I always thought in my mind it was a movie about a mom who had to leave a child behind in like the way that in Bird Box, Sandra Bullock has her 2 kids on the canoe and she's like, don't open your eyes! And you're kind of wondering, like, doesn't she not sacrifice one of them, but makes one of them open their eyes? I thought of it like that. I didn't know it was a movie about the Holocaust and making one of your children go into the gas chamber. Because my very first note is, wonderful scene in the hammock. Romantic and sensual like Maurice or The Notebook. Because I thought this was okay. And then I wrote, okay, Galinda Bach, Fierro, love triangle, ... that took a turn. That was when we found out that she was a Holocaust survivor. Like, a performance of this level, especially in this kind of narrative, is something I haven't seen in a really long time. And I feel like you get it in independent films because, again, those actors aren't as well known. But I think just the caliber of talent is something that's few and far between, because now you can have someone who's so, like, such an incredible celebrity that they get cast in these films because of the notoriety and like what they bring to the table. They bring viewership compared to going to a movie because you know somebody is such a talented actor that they're gonna blow you away in your seat. Film does so well the use of flashbacks, because usually flashbacks in films, you know, you flashback and you're like, okay, I'm waiting to go back to present day, or like I'm waiting to see how this leads to where we are now. Where with the flashbacks to Sophie's experience during the Holocaust and at Auschwitz, it felt like I'd forgotten that she'd gotten out of that and she married Nathan, she did marry Nathan, but I'd forgotten that she got out of that. Like, the flashbacks were so intense and so detailed and so emotional that you almost forget, like, she does get out of this and there is kind of not really a happy ending for her, which we'll get to, but made it out and she marries Nathan. And the entire premise, not the entire premise, but the main premise of Sophie's Choice and why it's such a popular saying, if you don't know, is it's a painful choice with no happy ending. And in this film, that is her having to choose which child of hers goes into the gas chamber so that both of them don't. That's an impossible choice that no mother should have to make. It's an impossible choice with no positive outcome, because either they both die, one dies, all 3 of them die. Like, They really, and you can say whatever you think you would do in that situation, but still that's insane. And so then it also kind of reflects in her present day experience the parallels between her having to choose between her children and her having to choose between the life she's been given being with Nathan and now with the other Bach looking man. Stingo. How could I forget that name? It reflects that in her present day experience because has to choose between staying with Nathan and maybe not being entirely fulfilled, or leaving Nathan and then again still not being satisfied. So her and Nathan die together by suicide, by taking cyanide pills. So the entire movie is very sad. It's very dreary, and it has such a heavy emotional weight with absolute gorgeous, fantastic, romantic cinematography that immediately is contrasted by the flashbacks to Auschwitz and World War II. I rated this 5 stars. I don't remember if it was 4.5 or 5. I really think you should watch this, and I think the costume design of Meryl Streep as Sophia and the makeup and hair and how it transitions throughout the film is so incredibly captivating. Like, I just was in awe by the way that she was dressed up in present day, and then how she looked like sickly and just sad when she was experiencing the Holocaust. So I really think you should watch this movie. The next thing we watched is The Northman, directed by Robert Eggers, because I figured, I can't get enough of these, like, folklore-ish. I can't get enough. Like, let's watch another one. So, The Northman. And, like I said before, I'm a huge fangirl. And one person in particular I'm a huge fangirl of is Alex Skarsgård. Have you seen True Blood? Have you seen Infinity Pool, the uncut version? Because let's just say it. He's really hot. And if you like hot, sweaty, jacked men covered in blood, this is your movie. If you like Vikings, if you like that shit, if you like Game of Thrones, this is your movie! And it's on Peacock. Nicole Kidman, wig, slayed. That shit was on! Nicole Kidman always looks great. Her wigs always look great. But especially this one. Then there's like a fart in the beginning of the movie that just caught me off guard, that I had to write that down. Willem Dafoe pops in for like a second, as he does. Ethan Hawke dies beginning of the movie, but don't worry, his son's gonna avenge him. And that's the entire premise of the film. When you're watching it, maybe if you were forced to study Shakespeare in high school and college, you would immediately pick up that this is similar to Hamlet. And so while I was watching this, I was like, is this Hamlet? Is this a Viking version of Hamlet? It's what Hamlet originated from. Story of the Northman and Hamlet are derived from Amleth, which is a figure in medieval Scandinavian legend. So, for my people that like that kind of shit, it was so good. I'm just gonna read directly from my notes because I think there's nothing that I could say about this film that would justify or provide enough detail or context for what it is to experience this film. It's so beautiful and well done. I'm a huge fan of Robert Eggers, obviously, so I'm biased. But like I said in my first video when I was talking about Nosferatu, all of his films take place, and they're generally period pieces, folklore, this being Amleth, the Scandinavian medieval legend. But it truly feels like you were taken, because I watched it in bed on this little laptop here. It felt like I had been lifted out of my bed and placed into the world, and I was standing there with Alex Skarsgård experiencing it all when he was being feral and barking and was really hot. So, if you've seen Hamlet, if you're familiar with Hamlet, that's what it's about, okay? But Hamlet, please now know, comes from Amleth. Everybody on the same, all they did was take the H and put it in the front. Really innovative if you think about it. The score physically did something to my body. This happens a lot in horror. This happened with Cuckoo, actually, that I watched last week. But sometimes the score is so good that I literally start, like, hitting my chest. I know that's really dramatic. I know that sounds stupid, but It was so good. I was getting riled up like I did during Challengers watching this movie. And I imagine that's how guys feel when they watch football. I was like, ugh, I love Vikings. Gosh, I love that gory ass shit. I usually dislike action movies, but Viking medieval period pieces with men covered in blood and swords and fighting for honor and revenge, that I like a little bit. Shakespearean, same genre that I'm constantly looking for. Oh, so that just was a run-on sentence. These are the kind of movies that I'm constantly looking to watch. Bonus points if they have like a really hot male lead. This film was so incredible and well done and well executed. The costume design made me foam at the mouth, especially the design to have a shirtless bloody man. I can't express enough my love for Robert Eggers' work and focus on folklore, and I would do anything for book recommendations or movie recommendations that exist in this realm. That's for you people. Such rich imagery and warmth from the flames in direct contrast to the gray atmosphere in this Viking world. I like, from a composition standpoint, when they were walking through the villages with the torches and the flames, and it was like this luminescent, striking orange and a world of gray, wet, cold earth. It was so fucking cool. This may be hyperbolic or favoritism, but I felt like I was watching a play. Every single minute was so raw, physical, and present. So why did I give it a 4.5 stars on Letterboxd? This is when it comes to like just personal things. This movie is a 5-star movie, obviously. Personal preference, 4.5, because I was dissatisfied with Anya Taylor-Joy and Analyst Resolution and wanted them to embrace in a wave of blood and passion and death, which may be ambitious, but he did it in Nosferatu, so it was possible. But that seems unfair of a critique. Oh well, 4.5. Okay, last but not least, I looked up a list on Letterboxd to find a movie that inspired Robert Eggers for The Northman. And I landed on The Blood on Satan's Claw, 1971, directed by Pierce Haggard. I have very few thoughts on this movie because I watched it very passively. Like, I didn't take a lot of notes on it. I was just enjoying it because it was right after I'd watched The Northman. And I was just, like, sat up, giddy in bed. Like, I love when I watch a movie that just makes me feel so good and makes me feel like, God, how do you come up with that in your mind? Like, how do you do that? And can I take your brain and all your ideas and put it in mine? Like, I would. When a mysterious corpse is accidentally dug up by a boy in a small town, a group of local teens start acting very strangely. The adolescents, led by a girl named Angel Blake, which is the coolest name for a bad bitch in a movie, are convinced the corpse was once possessed. Hoping to get in touch with the devil through the body, the teens act out a series of demonic rituals that causes a stir amongst the townspeople. When word of the satanic activities spread, certain parents start trying to lock up kids behind the spooky stunts. So, classic case of teens just trying to have fun and parents, like, not letting them live their true experience. So, unfortunately, Kathy was sacrificed. If I was there, I would have saved her because, like, Angel Blake took so long to put those shears in her spine. Like, she held them up, and Ralph was just watching, which Ralph we'll get to in a second because at first I thought he was kind of cute, but Ralph is the epitome of nice guys finish last. Like, so a guy that would say that, and we'll get there in a second. So poor Kathy was just, like, swindled into playing with these guys in the woods, which, number one, red flag, shouldn't be doing that. But again, we're not blaming her. Like, she went into the woods thinking they were going to play, and then they attacked and murdered her with shears in a Satan, like, sex ritual thing, because of course there was a rape scene involved. But Ralph pretty much just stands back and lets it all happen with his jaw on the floor, and then afterwards like, guys, they got Kathy, and it was like, yeah, and you could have, Ralph single-handedly could have taken out every single one of those people and saved Kathy, but instead he just kind of was like, Kathy, so are you okay? Oh, Kathy's missing. Oh, there she is in her spawn. Oh, she's murdered. Oh, she's dead now. I was off the vibe that, like, he would save you and then be like, oh, well, I saved you. Aren't you going to tell your friends that I'm a good person? That was what he gave off to me. And that was the true horror. Like, they really depicted nice guys finish last well. And that's horrific, in my opinion. I really just liked it. And It was corny. It was funny. The visuals were dated. Obviously, it's 1971, but it also is just like, yeah. I watched it after the Northman right before I went to bed. Pretty chill. I don't have too many hard-hitting thoughts on it other than I thought it was fun. And sometimes that's what movies are. They're just fun. Anyway, those are the movies I watched this week. If you want to, have more film reviews from me and scatterbrain, tangent, pointless conversation, there's 2 more videos that I made from the past 2 weeks. I also have a blog, Dry Gin Martini. We're so glad to have you. I post every Martini Monday. I haven't posted in a written blog in a while. And that's on me. That's on my laziness. That's on me watching way too many movies. But once again, I'd just like to take this time to honor David Lynch. Please subscribe to my channel. I mean, I don't really care about all that stuff, truthfully. Like subscribe, follow, whatever. I'm glad you watched this video or you stumbled upon it anyway. Wishing you the best. Happy Martini Monday. Chin chin as always. And we'll cheers together. Because I still haven't worked out these little quirks of the ending here, but like an outro. Like, you know how Troye Sivan used to be like, bye guys, wink, and then it would go to his outro. We're just gonna do a little chin chin. And one day we'll have a cocktail, but I always film these in the middle of the day and I just like have self-control. Chin chin!